Joy Andrews with us this morning.
Hey.
She's been sitting patiently and wondering if she should leave.
Never.
Already. How are you this morning officially? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good,
I'm
good.
having fun.
Good. You guys got a lot going on at the county right now. Let's start with something that we know Troy loves. Parks. You guys got some new projects. You got some money coming in for boat ramps. We got a lot going on with the parks in St. Johns County, right?
We do. We have been really ramping up on our parks and recreation projects, the capital projects, Treaty Park, big investment on that one. Palm Valley Boat Ramp, that was just, that was done. And I just drove by the other day. It's being used. $1.5 million, I think that was the investment.
We heard that was a huge blessing to that area.
Huge. Yeah, we had some concerns from the residents, but from what I can tell, it's going really well.
Cool.
It's very much utilized, but we have more. We have more to come. 2024 is going to be year of Parks and Recreation.
Really? Okay.
Among other things.
Yeah, I love it. And Treaty Park, I mean, obviously it's one that's really close to my heart because that was my first big project. So what's some of the things that's happening out there at Treaty Park that you can share with us?
Well, actually, Wayne helped me with a list, a cheat sheet over here so that we can capture everything. $1.5 million. So it's a playground upgrade, all new play areas. Well, that's actually Cornerstone and the Collier Blocker Park in West Augustine area. But the Treaty Park for that part is the $1.4 million playground upgrades with some resurfacing of the, I think it's the tennis courts and then the pickleball courts, which is super popular.
Yeah. Geez.
Yeah.
Pickleball has just totally overlapped tennis, hasn't it?
There's a wait list to get into some of these courts.
Well, they have a whole hierarchy in pickleball. Like when you go there, you hang your little paddle up and then you kind of play your way down.
It's a whole culture.
No, it's an entire culture.
And you can't remix that either. Don't just go for recreation. You go for the life.
Jeez,
Like people start off like, oh, I'll go out and try pickleball. And then like the next week they have every goal.
Right.
I mean, like, I need a new paddle.
They're sponsored. They got sponsorships on their shirt. So pickleball's big.
It is big, especially for public space. Now, if you pay for membership, there are places covered in Daytona, but in St. Johns County, we really wanted to provide those public spaces.
Cool.
You know, we were fortunate before the pickleball rage. We had paddle tennis, and the courts are the same size, so we kind of had a head start jump on a lot of other communities trying to catch up with the pickleball rage.
Do you guys ever look at that with like trends? Like, I don't know, I'm just going to throw shuffleboard out there, but maybe that's not like somebody's playing that anymore. Do you take those courts away and like build something? Like, how does that measured?
And Joy, I can tell you from my experience with one of the things that we did was we stopped building football fields or soccer fields. We built multi-purpose fields.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So you can transition as the games, you know, and it came into play when lacrosse took off in Florida.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 25 years ago, lacrosse was nothing, but now it's one of the biggest sports.
Every school's got a lacrosse team.
Everybody has a lacrosse team now. So, I mean, that's an example of where when and you guys, I think, are doing some stuff with the redoing of the artificial turf fields on some of those too.
Davis Park?
Yeah, when we did the artificial turf fields, we made them where it wasn't set for just soccer. It was set for whatever was coming.
Okay.
So And the county's way ahead of some of the stuff with the artificial turf fields in Florida.
And Joy just mentioned Davis Park. Are you upset that Mike Davis's family has a park before you?
Wrong Davis.
Oh,
that's the Winn-Dixie
Davis. Shame. That's a shame. So cool. So what can we look forward to then more in the parks world in 2024? What are you excited about as far as that's concerned?
We have a lot of really existing parks improvement, like I mentioned, Treaty Park, and of course the boat ramp, waterway access. That was a legacy mission from when Commissioner Waldron was here. So there was a lot of investment that was already appropriated. It's just in the pipeline. But and then you have parks all of the county. You have playground for the little ones, and you have all these recreational sports. Troy knows about all of that, and also you have really intense the competitive ones that this past weekend we were just dealing with the Florida Actually, it's the Jacksonville Football Association. They had a tournament out in Davis Park, and because we had the storm, so there was a lot of standing water. Our demand for our fields are incredible. I mean, it has grown, and our parents are really serious about playing, and they invested so much time and money on their kids. So 2024, one of the capital priorities is going to be parks and recreation. We have 4 regional parks are in planning. One regional park, which is Davis Park, that we're going to do some major shifting. So just a little bit of a preview. We have not really wrote that out publicly yet, but for regional park, we are looking at a financing program of close to $100 million. And included that is also the Davis Park that we're going to shift some of those, I think the baseball ball field and then the softball. We try to consolidate, between the Nocatee Park and the Davis Park in that area so that it can be more efficient. A lot to come. So we have a lot more new.
That's exciting though for that community too, to have all those resources there.
Yeah.
Davis Park's probably 25 years old now. It's time.
Yeah.
It was here before I got here.
I think it was 99, 2000, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
It's probably our biggest regional park still, right? It's like 115 acres or something.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a lot of room for expansion, and like you said, Troy, you're right about the artificial turf is really a big deal because then you really expand hours that you can play, the condition you can play in. So
So like we use Bermuda grass for athletic fields, so it only can handle about 350 hours of play, and then it kills the root system. And with so many teams and so many people moving in so quickly, Julian Creek area really suffered, and that's one of the places where they have the artificial but the artificial field allows you to play in. It stops raining, you can play right away.
Right.
You do that on the other field, you tear up the grass and you destroy everything.
Okay.
And it costs the taxpayers money getting it back.
Yeah.
Okay. So another big thing on people's radar right now is the possibility of getting this Black History Museum here in St. Johns County. I know we're up against some other cities for this. Where are we at on this right now? How are we looking, and how do we sustain something like this? Because that's an important component, right? Do we have an infrastructure in place that can help us sustain this if we're able to bring it here?
I believe so. There is a lot of uncertainty in terms of the resource that's going to be allocated to this amazing opportunity for St. Johns County, not just for tourism, for economic development, for really cultural enhancement and preservation of history. So in terms of the resource, what comes with the museum, we really don't know. So right now what we're working with is there is a state bill that really articulate for a need for a Florida Black History Museum. And they also have formed a task force with members from all over the state. They are basically appointed by the state legislators. And then so they meet regularly once a month, and they would discuss the selection criteria. In fact, St. Johns County, we as a team, and that would include West Augustine community leaders, our chairwoman, Sarah Arnold, our TDC, our cultural council, our VCB, myself, our team of legislative affairs, public affairs, and in fact, St. John's St. John's, the previous amphitheater, I can never say it right, SJCCE, the whole team. I mean, we have an enormous team came together in West Augustine CRA, steering committee. So we just made a presentation before task force in the month of December or January, I couldn't remember, December, I think. And at the time, I think we have 9 competitions. There was a lot of interesting dialogue in that presentation. There was one task force member dropped out due to the suspicion of conflict of interest. She was the executive director of Woodson Museum, and so this person sits on the task force and spoke for the Watson Museum at the same time as one vote in terms of who she would support to be reviewed as a potential candidate for the site. But in terms of St. Johns County, I really do not think, and we as a team, we don't think there is real competition. Our history, the richness of it, the support, the potential support from the county, the tourism backing. I mean, I don't know any competition is real competition at this point.
Do you see it as like a nucleus to other organizations too, like Lincolnville Museum and Fort Mose? Do you see it sort of like an artery or resource for them?
Absolutely. Well, they are not only a resource for each other, there really is a collection of the cultural assets that we have here. And this is why it needs to be here. Fort Mose groundbreaking is going to be this Friday. We have a reception. In fact, it was tonight, actually.
Yeah.
So, we have purposefully really planned the series of events to really draw the support. And then we have, we have 3 historical Black university have voiced the support for our advocacy for St. Johns County, and Florida Memorial University have played a huge role in all of this because the actual potential location is going to be where they used to be.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story of redemption. They got rent out, their building were burned, and they went to Miami. Now it is amazing opportunity. They're coming back. And they're gonna redemonstrate the strength of not only Florida Memorial University, but also us as a community, not just Black community, but just us, a community as a whole.
Yeah.
You got an Asian woman over there presenting. You got Greg White. You got Dawala. You got Sarah. We have amazing team together in front of that task force, and I think our story was told in such a compelling way. We are really excited for this opportunity.
Oh, yeah. I just got chills. I'm really excited. That's really cool.
Well, in that area, I mean, it's sat there since 1967, and people talk about playing in the ruins of Florida Memorial. So it's really nice. Where Collier Blocker is where the president's house was. And I think we still have a lease with Florida Memorial on that. So I think they own where the fire station was at one point also. So, I mean, there's a lot of ties to Florida Memorial. It's good to see them participating. But I understand Edward Waters is supporting us in Florida A&M also. Yep. Is that
Absolutely.
true?
And then also the transportation, the corridor of 313 coming through that area. And in fact, Florida Memorial University owns a really large tract of land around that potential campus area. So talking about the potential education institution that you could bring in there, the economic development, the academic aspect for just the community of West Augustine, it's incredible.
I had no idea the story of this. This is incredible too. I didn't know about the burning and then they moved out. That's awesome.
In fact, one fun fact about our presentation, because the task force was formed in such a hasty way, we really didn't have a whole lot of heads up in terms of what to present and how to present it. And everybody worked day and night on this. And one of the things that we are really proud of is the rendering of the actual museum.
Cool.
And for one, that we try to be creative so that we're not spending a lot of time that we really didn't have to come up with a shining building, which St. Petersburg, I think, did.
Okay.
And they they said they had a pledge of NFL, pledging of $19 million. We don't know how true that is. We don't know how culturally appropriate that is neither. But instead of coming up with a new building, our concept was that we want to honor and respect history. So we want that sort of a replica, but an improvement of what University of Memorial University used to look like. And so we have a rendering we'd love to share at some point with the community. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be exciting to see that. I'd be interested to check that out. Affordable housing. Affordable housing. This is huge. We've got the Villages of West Augustine. I know we're getting ready to pop that up out here soon. What are we looking like, not only with that project, but do we have anything coming down do we have anything coming up that people can look forward to? Because obviously this is a big deal here in St. Johns County. We have such a large amount of folks who are in the hospitality industry. I don't have to tell you this, but our police, our fire, our emergency workers, our nurses, many of them just can't afford to live here anymore. So how do we make sure we're keeping some of our most valuable folks here in St. Johns County and not, pricing ourselves out of business?
Absolutely. Well, one thing I can probably say with a great level of certainty, and it's a good news and it's bad news, is that our housing market is not getting any softer. So the same issue, it's a great news for our residents, our property owners here that, the economy is going strong still for St. Johns County, for Florida. But that also does impose this issue with affordable housing, how we can make sure especially hospitality, our service industry workers that would have a place to live so that they can offer the services and contribute back to the community. I would say Village of New Augustine New Village of Augustine. That is probably the most exciting project that we can look forward to. But along with that, I wanted to kind of broaden this scope a little bit, just so the viewers or the listeners have an understanding of how we are using this very comprehensive and multifold approach to look at affordable housing, because that's the only way that you can actually tackle this issue. You can't just say, I want affordable housing, public housing authority, we're going to solve the problem. It's going to be very expensive if you use one single method to approach this. Our taxpayer is going to end up footing the bill, because who's going to pay for a public housing, and so I think the comprehension of the approach that we're looking at is really the partnerships with all different agencies. So you have Ability Housing, who just did the groundbreaking, which is 90 plus units in West Augustine, where it is close to service, close to public transportation. That is huge. The investment from St. Johns County I can say is marginal compared to what that is going to be produced. And that is the kind of project we want to look for. We want to look for collaboration with partnerships with private entities. Ability Housing, why they're successful is because they are really creative in their financing. They look for ways of grants. Which is leveraging funds from state and federal, bring to St. Johns County. They look for ways of utilizing and capitalizing tax credit, which is really your banks, your private businesses contributing to this issue that they in turn will really negatively impacted by if we don't solve it, because they need those employment to be able to live here. And then also our board was very proactive and looked at impact fee deferral, which was very helpful in their financing. So the price tag for St. Johns County for that project, 90 plus units, was marginal. So that's the great news. And that is the kind of model we want to continue to look at. Veterans Council, Mr. Dudley, he's looking at some really exciting housing opportunity that he himself and the county, our board, have supported to lobby from the state so that we can create more housing for just veterans. And Troy, Home Again, the Home Again new facilities, that is going to create new units. And that is a collaboration of the resource that we got from ARPA. So creativity in financing is going to be the key, because, nothing is free. So you have to find a way to pay for it, and without adding burden on our taxpayers. Chamber has played a huge role. Isabel and Scott and Bob, that team, they have worked really hard to look at attainable housing for essential workers. The study came out, and that is going to be a good consideration when we go through the comprehensive plan update, which affordable housing is one of a few elements that we're going to talk about. So hopefully it's a combination of resource leveraging from state and federal and private, and leveraging of creative financing like tax credit, and also at the same time look at if there is any, I wouldn't say it's free, but if you're talking about land development code relaxation, that is free, on paper, but it could potentially generate positive impact on how the developer will be more interested in using really the free market and capital market tools tools to create those housing. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. The business needs to survive. They need workers, and they need to be part of a solution too.
Okay. And we get a lot of state money with some of the projects like the Veterans Village that we talked about with Bill Dudley and stuff. And right now we have a very powerful delegation from our area. All of them are timing out. Is there concern on the county side and some of the commissioners' side? We got Hudson who's timing out. We got Renner and we have Stevenson. We have three very powerful people in Tallahassee that helped us this past year bring in record number of money. Is there a concern on the county commission side on how do we fill that void of a voice in Tallahassee? Because there's going to be a gap. And I just didn't know what the conversations between the county commissioners and yourself with that being a concern.
Oh, that is absolutely a good consideration and a good point to bring up. And we're not naive, think that we're going to have record years every single year. It really truly depends on the delegation that we have in the state when it comes to the state funding. So that's why we capitalize and we take advantage when we know we have a strong delegation. Last year and this year, I think combined, we're looking at close to $150 million of projects that we potentially can bring through finish line because of the delegation, because of the strong advocacy from our board. Last year, Chairman Whitehurst, he knocked anybody's door who's willing to listen to talk about transportation, talk about beach, and talk about public safety. And this year, Commissioner Arnold, and we're planning a trip to Tallahassee next week, and then we're going to do the same thing. Commissioner Alemo this week, just in Tallahassee right now, talking with Appropriation Chairman Leak, who is running for Senator Hudson's seat as well. So he has been a huge supporter for St. Johns County. They have talked about public safety. We were just talking about this last night, talking about a training facility for fire, talking about a regional public safety facility in north sector of the county where the population is just going out crazy. Yeah. So everybody is really kind of rallying up when we know we have assurance of the support from the state. Now, there is some, I don't know how certain that is, the gossip or the grapevine, that there is potential serious consideration of reduction of state budget. And I don't know enough about how the national politics and political landscape is going to affect how Florida is going to make those appropriations. But St. Johns County is unique. Nobody's like St. Johns County looking at the kind of growth that we're looking at the need, and looking at the story that we have to tell. So we feel still good about how we can still garner the support from the state and federal. Congressman Rutherford, we were just talking about a couple weeks ago about how he can support us to look at clean up the Guana Channel. So there is a lot of resiliency resources we're also looking at pursuing on the federal level as well.
Very cool.